Welcome back. I'm Jocelyn Bamford, and we've been discussing the government's plan for just transition in their just transition bill at the federal government level. Dr. Mintz, the Chancellor of Germany, came to Canada hat in hand and asked for liquefied natural gas. Justin Trudeau said no. Your thoughts on this decision?
Well, I think this is par for the course. I mean, we've really missed the boat in LNG for many years now. United States is now producing has 5 or 6 export terminals. Australia has 5. We will have finally one built in the next year or two, or the next couple of years, that we can allow for export of LNG. But it's a huge missed opportunity because instead our natural gas molecules are going south, and that's allowing the United States to even export more. So we're effectively losing a huge amount of value added as a result of not being able to develop LNG. The Prime Minister said that there was no business case. I don't know where he came from. I can tell you that statement was a laughing stock of Alberta at several conferences I was at this past year.
Dean, I'm going to pivot to you. How could this be different? How could we grow jobs in the economy in Canada with our resource sector?
Well, if you look at that, and I think, we've talked about Germany, but there's also Japan that came with their cap in hand looking for help. We've turned down over $100 billion in investments in the energy sector, and you'd think of all the great jobs that would provide over time. And I think that there is going to be a transition, whatever it is. It may not be in the next couple of weeks, the next couple of years. It's going to take decades. We should be there with our ethically, with our environmentally, and the way we produce all of these things is much higher standards than the rest of the world. And so I don't know why we're not using Canadian products, helping places like China transition off. They're building coal-fired plants. They need our LNG. There's a whole bunch of countries that could use what we are providing or what we could provide to the rest of the world. And I think that would be one of the greatest ways we could help people and help countries transition is by providing them with much better LNG that burns cleaner.
Absolutely. And this is at a time where the Indian government has just asked their industry to not transition out of coal. That was just off the Reuters wires today. So we're going to see a dirtier planet if we don't get our clean liquefied natural gas to market and help these countries come off coal. Dr. Mintz, you just wrote an article for the National Post titled "A Just Transition Out of Energy." Ask the people of Hanna about that. You had some startling statistics on potential job losses for the just transition. Can you talk about this and talk about what happened to the folks in Hanna?
Well, I think there was this publication that came out that actually I've seen before when I worked in the government, where it would have something like the minister's remarks at, in this case, it was the House of Commons Natural Resource Committee, and it was for Minister Wilkinson and Minister O'Regan. And this was for last June 1st. And then, of course, it followed with a whole bunch of questions and answers, kind of talking points for the ministers to reply to various questions. There was a very important paragraph that talked about the threat to jobs losses in various industries, which included construction and manufacturing, oil and gas, of course, and et cetera. And those numbers actually doesn't mean that it's going to be full job losses, but those numbers added up to 2.7 million people whose jobs are at threat. And that is actually a very serious concern, I think, given that's almost 14% of the Canada's labor force. So that is an issue that has to be dealt with. As far as Hanna, Alberta, it was the center of the phasing out of a coal plant, power plant, and there was promises of creating jobs, and of course the federal government put some money into a transition center, and so did the NDP government when they were in power. They put in some money for transition as well. But it really didn't help very much. Poor Hanna. There's, the number of people that became unemployed doubled. The participation rate in the labor force plummeted to the lowest level ever in the area. and building permits dropped from 6 million in 2017 or 16 to 1 million in 2021, which kind of tells you that nothing is happening.
Some startling statistics. We have to go to break. We're going to pick this up when we get back, and we're going to talk about what your predictions are for 2023. You're watching Canadian